Today, I'm going to tell you the story of a man who was once called the greatest counterfeiter in all of America. The fake dollar notes he made looked so real that not just the human eye, but even detective machines were fooled. He made these fake notes not only for criminal gangs, but also for the mafia. Yet, for many years, the police failed to catch him. The story of how he made these fake notes is as astonishing as the unbelievable way in which the police found the biggest piece of evidence in the case. The story begins on the night of August 14th, 2006, when a 15-year-old boy rushes into a police station in Chicago looking very nervous. In his hands was a bag completely filled with cash. And what he was about to tell the police shocked everyone present in the station. The boy told the police that all the notes in the bag were fake and that where he brought the cash from, there were even more fake notes. As soon as the police heard this, they raided a nearby apartment where they found another $90,000 worth of counterfeit money. That's when the police got their first big break, one that changed the entire course of the investigation. What shocked the police the most was that these fake notes were not printed by someone else, but by the same boy who brought the bag to the station. But when the boy explained to the police why and because of whom he had made the fake notes, there was a sparkle in the officer's eyes. Because now they were very close to catching America's biggest counterfeiter. So who was this genius artist? How did he print fake notes? And did the police ever catch him? When you find out, you'll be stunned. The mastermind behind this story is Art Williams, born in the U.S. state of Illinois in 1972. When Art was very young, his family moved to Chicago. He spent his childhood on the streets of Chicago, where crime and criminals were a common thing. Although Art never wanted to become a criminal, his childhood was far from normal. He grew up watching his parents steal, and at that young age, he didn't understand what was happening. When Art was 9, his mother was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and soon after, his father abandoned the entire family. This had a deep and damaging impact on Art's mind. He realized that he now had to face the harsh world all alone. And he quickly understood that to survive in a city like Chicago, he would have to do whatever it takes, right or wrong. Art was still very young, and his mother, now on medication, got back on her feet and began working to take care of the house and her children. Around this time, his mother met a man named Da Vinci, an Italian man who was wealthy and treated Art's mother very well. That's why the two began living together. To Art, Da Vinci was more than just his mother's boyfriend. He was like a father figure. Because Art never had a father's love growing up, he started to believe that now his life might get better. But fate had something else in store for Art. By the time Art turned 17, his girlfriend was pregnant. With no way to earn money, he began stealing cars to take care of his girlfriend and soon-to-be-born child. Within just a few days of stealing cars, the police arrested him and sent him to a juvenile detention center for 3 months. Seeing this, Da Vinci felt that Art's life needed to change. So, he offered Art something that would change his life forever. Da Vinci took Art to a warehouse near an old and used railway track. Inside the warehouse, Art saw barrels of ink, printing machines, and stacks of paper. It looked just like a printing press. But then Art noticed something that left him completely stunned. Inside this press, they weren't printing newspapers or brochures, but high-quality fake dollar bills, made with precision using those printing machines. Da Vinci was an artist, and he used his skills to create counterfeit money, an art he had inherited from his father and was now about to pass on to Art. Da Vinci started teaching Art every detail of making counterfeit notes, how to mix ink, make die plates, and set the paper and ink into machines. Alongside this, he also told Art about the rules of the trade. Rule number 1, never spend the fake notes yourself. Only sell them to others in exchange for real money. Rule number 2, don't print so many notes that it draws unwanted attention. Rule number 3, never, under any circumstance, tell anyone about this operation. With Da Vinci, Art was not just learning a skill, he was mastering an art that gave new direction to his life. But Art's happiness didn't last long. One day, Da Vinci suddenly disappeared without telling him or his mother. Art couldn't understand whether Da Vinci was arrested, killed, or simply abandoned them like his father. And he never got an answer. With Da Vinci gone, Art's dream of making counterfeit money also disappeared. This pushed him into depression. He had no job, no money, and he returned to the streets of Chicago and back to crime. By the 1980s, the drug business had taken over Chicago. Cocaine was being sold in every street. Seeing this, Art came up with a very clever idea. He knew that if he tried to sell cocaine like everyone else, no one would let him survive in the game. So, he prepared a smart and risky plan. He rented a black Chevy Caprice for a few days and modified it with antennas and police sirens. Along with that, he arranged for a fake police badge. With the badge on his shirt and the modified police car, he began acting like a fake cop. Disguised as a police officer, he would chase down drug dealers, stop their cars, and search them. If he found drugs, he would take their money. It was dangerous, but profitable. Sometimes he made $15,000 in a single hit. But with the money, the risk also increased. Art knew very well that one day the truth would be exposed, and either the drug dealers or the real cops would catch him. So, he decided to quit everything and start fresh. With the money he made scamming drug dealers, he married his girlfriend and promised her a new life away from crime. He told her he had a job at a construction company, but the truth was far from it. Every morning, his wife dropped him at a construction site where he claimed to work. But as soon as she drove away, Art quietly made his way to a flat he had secretly rented. Inside that flat, he was doing something no one could have imagined, something that would make him the greatest counterfeiter in American history. He had learned something, and using that knowledge, he bought an old printing machine, ink barrels, and some dyes to make his own printing plates. This time, he had decided to create counterfeit notes that would be impossible for anyone to identify. And this time, they were so flawless that it was difficult to tell the difference between them and real notes. Word of this spread like wildfire throughout Chicago's underworld. William had built an excellent distribution network to sell the notes, which included taxi drivers, drug dealers, and even street-level cocaine sellers. By now, William had started earning up to $50,000 every month. He was careful not to draw attention to himself, but suddenly his greed grew with his success, and he broke some of his own rules. Now, William began living a lavish life, buying expensive cars and throwing big parties. During this time, his wife found out about his illegal activities, and in 1993, she divorced him. After the divorce, William threw himself entirely into his work because he had nothing left to lose. He decided to expand his counterfeit note distribution beyond Chicago. Here, William broke the first rule he had set for himself. He started circulating the notes himself outside Chicago. To pass the counterfeit bills, he would go to shopping centers where inexperienced young cashiers worked. He would buy cheap items with $100 counterfeit bills and keep the real change he received. Though it was a risky move, William believed it was necessary to build his distribution network. By the 1990s, William had become the king of counterfeit notes. But as his fame grew, so did the risks. He was now on police's radar. After the divorce, William often felt depressed, haunted by memories of his time in Chicago with his wife. He decided to leave Chicago and move to Texas to live with his mother. He believed the slow and peaceful lifestyle there would bring him peace and clarity. Initially, it did. He started going to church every Sunday and having dinner with his mother. But his past life and the greed for counterfeit money never left his mind. Then, a woman named Natalie entered his life. Natalie was a confident and bold woman who, like William, had been scamming drug dealers by posing as a fake cop. Seeing an opportunity for partnership, William quickly grew close to her. Soon, he told Natalie about his counterfeit money business and expressed his desire to start printing fake notes again, asking for her help. Natalie immediately agreed, and they returned to Chicago together. Back in Chicago, they rented a small shop and gathered all the equipment needed to print counterfeit money. With Natalie by his side, William took his craft to the next level, aiming to create the most flawless counterfeit notes yet. His target this time was the $100 bills printed in 1996. Counterfeiting these notes was nearly impossible because they were specifically designed with watermarks, color-shifting ink, and security threads to prevent duplication. Seeing this, Banks across America began exchanging these notes with the Federal Reserve to prevent counterfeits from entering circulation. Many counterfeiters gave up, but for William, this was a challenge he was determined to overcome. He experimented day and night, blending old and new printing techniques. For the paper, he used thin telephone directory paper, which blended seamlessly with the note's texture. The color-shifting ink, a major hurdle for counterfeiters, was replicated using lowrider paint. William's notes weren't just good, they were exceptional. They passed UV pen tests and fake note detector machines, making them undetectable. William was back in business, and his distributors began circulating the notes in and outside Chicago. Natalie handled logistics, ensuring smooth operations. By now, they had made over $1 million from this operation. As their wealth grew, so did their lifestyle. They frequently traveled to different cities, passing counterfeit bills at malls, gas stations, and convenience stores. Their simple plan was to use $100 counterfeit notes for small purchases and keep the real change. On every trip, they successfully exchanged thousands of dollars in fake bills for real cash. William began to feel invincible, unaware that news of his counterfeit notes was spreading. The Secret Service had started tracking his operations. Meanwhile, William's greed grew, and he took risks he once feared. Natalie's presence gave him confidence. They were no longer just partners, but were building a future together. However, as their counterfeit operation expanded, so did the risks. Between 1997 and 1999, William had become the undisputed king of counterfeit money. His $100 notes were legendary, impossible to distinguish from real ones. These notes circulated among drug dealers, criminal gangs, and even taxi drivers, all praising the quality. William was earning thousands every month, convinced he'd never get caught. But greed clouded his judgment, leading to his downfall. He broke his own rules by personally circulating notes at gas stations, shopping malls, and fast food joints. The flashy lifestyle drew police attention. Meanwhile, the Secret Service quietly tracked his notes, receiving increasing complaints about counterfeits. They focused on Chicago, but didn't yet know who was behind it. Then, the Russian mafia took notice of William's operation and approached him with a deal. $400,000 in counterfeit notes in exchange for $200,000 in real cash. But on the day of the deal, William made a mistake. He had to pick up Natalie's parents from the airport, but went to the hotel room for the deal first. The deal dragged on, and by evening, there was a knock on the door. Thinking it was room service, William opened it, only for multiple police officers to storm in. They claimed they had received a tip about a bag of marijuana in the room. As one officer searched, he found another bag, filled with $60,000 in counterfeit notes. William was arrested on the spot. Stunned, he knew federal agents would soon arrive. When they did, they were amazed at the quality of his counterfeit notes. Some even called them the best they'd ever seen. In court, William's lawyer argued that the search was illegal since the police had no warrant. The judge agreed, dismissing the case due to unlawful search and seizure. William walked free, but was shaken. Natalie pressured him to quit, but counterfeiting had become an addiction for him. Outsmarting the system gave him a thrill, and he couldn't let go. After his narrow escape, William grew even more confident. Instead of shutting down, he scaled up production, printing notes faster and in larger quantities. As his network grew, so did the risks. His son, now 15, grew distant due to William's constant work. William never wanted his son to follow his criminal path, but the damage was done. One day, William returned home to find low-quality counterfeit notes in a bag, printed by his son. Horrified, he realized his worst fear had come true. A heated argument ensued, and in anger, his son stormed out with a bag of counterfeit money. What happened next ended William's counterfeit career forever. Blinded by rage, William's son went straight to the Chicago police station and revealed everything about the operation. The police raided William's home, seizing $90,000 in counterfeit notes, printing machines, ink barrels, and other equipment. William was arrested immediately. His son told the police that William was the mastermind, but William denied everything, claiming the equipment wasn't his. However, The Secret Service had been tracking his notes for years and knew he was lying. They connected the counterfeit notes in circulation with those found in his home, building a strong case against him. During interrogation, William's son admitted to printing some notes himself, but the police refused to believe he acted alone. In court, the prosecution presented overwhelming evidence, including counterfeit notes from William's home. They argued that William had not only produced counterfeit money, but also trained his son in the trade. This false narrative worked against William. The court fast-tracked the case, sentencing him to 3 years in federal prison for printing over $10 million in counterfeit money. His son received a lighter sentence due to his age and cooperation. The betrayal by his own son shattered William. In prison, his biggest regret was that his choices had led his son to jail, something he never wanted. Just as his father had abandoned him in childhood, his son now left him. After his release, William's son cut ties with him, leaving William to carry the weight of regret forever. How did you find this story? Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe to the channel.